Attack of the Hat Bro.
Yeah.
What's going on? I have
having a
some
bad.
people requesting to join this live tonight. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was having a bad hair day. You know how that goes.
Actually, I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't have hair days anymore.
You just have days.
I have scalp days.
Head and shoulders no longer necessary.
It's a real budget booster.
Yeah. Do you still wash your head?
I do. The head needs to stay clean. Yes, it is. What's up, Brett Stacking Slabs? What's up, guys? Who here is at the Atlanta show? Is anybody here at the Atlanta card show? I wonder.
Oh man, there wasn't much this week. Do we even need this show?
I was thinking about that. I said, man, usually we have big news breaking in the hobby every weekend, but it was a real dry week news-wise.
I feel like these companies, to a certain extent, are like, man, we should announce something this week. Let's just do something. I don't know what it is. Let's figure it out. I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, the people keep on pouring in. Let's do a couple of announcements because we have a few big ones this week. First of all, welcome to the crossover. Today is Friday, July 16th. And we have some new features on Card Ladder that I would like to tell you guys about. The first one is SGC. SGC is now supplying us. That's right, the SGC slab. We are now officially working with SGC to get all of their pop reports generated for SGC slabs in Card Ladder. And we're working to get more SGC slabs in Card Ladder. Do you want to say anything else about that, Josh?
No, I was talking to Peter on the phone, and he was really excited to help us get some of those, get the pop reports going, and then I told him we'd focus on adding some more SGC cards. A lot of people have been asking for it, so the theme of the week for us is just partnerships. Like we want to get more serious with our partnerships with the community because we think that's important, and we've talked a lot on the show about specializing and doing what you're really good at. We feel that in order to be the strongest as a card community, this is the best path for us. So we're excited about that.
Well said. And tip of the hat to Peter, SGC, Josh's relationship with SGC, SGC's willingness to connect with the community, get in at the grassroots level, team up with companies like us, Card Ladder. It's a very good thing. And people in the hobby seem to like it when its companies team up, do they not?
Oh, yes, they do. People love the Mind Slabs news.
Yeah, they did. And you love to see it. The second update relating to Card Ladder. Yeah, he just said that. Yeah. I have a producer in my ear. Card Ladder has player indexes now as well. This is a massive feature, but it's also only a precursor to an even more massive feature that's coming soon. So right now, if you are on Card Ladder and you scroll down to the Players tab and you click that, it's going to bring you to, I suppose there's over 1,000 players now, I would guess, based on all the hockey editions we've been making. You come over here, you click on a player, and pro users are going to see two graphs, the sales volume graph, but they're also going to see the index graph. And the index graph is incredible. So we have constructed, or maybe a better term is reconstructed, an index for Michael Jordan, normalized to a value of 1,000, using divisors to offset fluctuations based on the first sale of a card, similar to how any major stock market index works. Normalized to 1,000 from the first sale in our database, and then tracking the growth of his total market. And so for Michael Jordan, there's 1,152 cards in Card Ladder of Jordan. We are tracking the total market growth for all of those cards over the all-time online sales history. analytics-wise, this is incredibly powerful. What this is showing is that the Jordan market has 21x'd since 2004. The total market has. Kobe going back all the way to 2004 to now. The Kobe market has 35x'd since 2004. You can just run down the list. The LeBron market since 2004. The LeBron market here, 705 LeBron cards. The LeBron market has gone up 76x since 2004. You can just repeat this with all the players in Card Ladder. You can change the time horizon. It's extremely interesting. Total market index. There's never been a way in sports cards history that you could look at the total market index for a player and definitively, authoritatively state what their market has done over a given time span. And now you can. There's no more mystery. There's no more guesswork. It's done. Did I miss anything?
No, you covered it, man.
Sweet.
Record
Great
time.
about that. All right. By the way, the highest charting player in the player index and Card Ladder that I could find, the one who has seen the most all-time growth was Stephen Curry, 980x.
Yeah, because he 2004. Oh no, 2009, right? Because he actually got off to a little bit of a slow start with his career. He had some injury problems. Dang, that's crazy.
980x. Brett asked for Bol Bol. Bol Bol. Here's what Bol Bol's market index looks like. So from the date of his first sale, his market at one time was 12x. Was 12x. Now his market is up 1.4x from the first time any of his cards ever sold. Almost back to the starting points. It's fun to look at this stuff. There's a lot of stuff you could do analytically with this stuff too. If I were a content creator, which I am, there's an endless amount of stuff you can do with this type of data, comparisons, stuff like that. So, any other announcements before we get into the questions?
National Booth 566.
National Booth 566. What's going on at that booth?
We will be at that booth, and we're going to have some fun stuff going on. We're at a really nice booth, too. We're sharing it with a couple guys who've got some sweet cards. We're across from Topps. We're across from Beckett. We're in like we're in the middle of the corporate area, so we have a really nice spot. So stop by and say hey to me and Chris and the team.
Stop by, say hello to the team. And if that's not a big enough allure, it'll be worth your while to stop by the booth. So see you guys at the National. And anything else? Is that it for our announcements? All right. Oh, don't say that, Chrissy. All right. First question is, Christina had to roll over to see what Chrissy Bucket said. All right, first question. From Denick the One. Do the Bucks win or not?
Oh, jeez, man. It's like high stress over here. We're not talking about it. We just sort of wait for the games, and then game days, I'm just I don't really want to talk about it.
It's completely fair. The basketball indexes, B-ball index, their model has the Suns as 53% favorites to win right now, and I'm sure Vegas-wise, the Suns are favored as well. They have home court advantage, and the home team has won every game so far, which has only happened a handful of times in NBA history that the home team won the first 4 games.
Yeah, it comes down to Chris Paul for me. Like, he was terrible, and he was so bad.
Do you
Someone
think
pointed out
injured?
I don't know. He said his hand's fine. Someone pointed out that he was having trouble dribbling. I think it was Ryan Russillo. He was like, dude, the guy couldn't even dribble. Like, he kept, like, fumbling the ball and, like, his behind-the-back moves, he was, like, dry. It was just weird. So weird. And it sucks because Booker was so good. They kind of wasted his game. But, they should bounce back. It's Chris Paul's a veteran. I'm sure he'll be fine. But definitely the Bucks are playing much better now.
They are. And anybody can have a bad game, even all-time greats. So I just hope he isn't hurt. The current finals odds, the Suns are minus 145.
Mm.
So still healthy favorites to win. Lot is riding on Game 5 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, kind of an important game.
Kind of an important game. All right. Sports Card Poppy says, how do I deal with the FOMO of not going to the National?
Mm. Well, we're going to have some really nice content coming out. So watch Card Letter.
Yeah,
Watch
make sure you're
subscribe to
subscribed.
YouTube.
Yeah, subscribe to the Card Letter YouTube. That's one way to deal with it. That might make the FOMO worse, but just lean into the FOMO. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having FOMO, I would think you'd want to watch content of people walking around, but I don't know. Other than that, bury your head in the sand.
Hibernate for a week.
Because that's gonna be all Instagram, and because if you think about it, this is the first national since so I can't it's just like everything, right? Like since the hobby really took off, so there's gonna be a lot riding on it, right? A lot of people are gonna be yeah, we're setting up at 566.
566, baby. Come see us. All right. Cards and Candy 911 would like to know, are you guys noticing a tick up in sports card prices? I'm noticing it on eBay lately. So first thing I would do is I would go look at the CL50 index. That's a no-brainer. And that index is not ticking up. That index is ticking ever so slightly down, although it seems to have normalized, or it seems to have flattened at about 19.5. The index has really not moved in the last half a month. However, that's only one side to the story. The other side to the story is headlines, all-time highs. We post about 8 of them that happen every day, and damn, do they happen every day. Shohei Ohtani is going absolutely crazy. Trae Young, rare Trae Young setting highs. Jordan autos. Somebody was talking about those autos this week on Twitter. Mahomes, PSA 9, Jordan, Seth Jones. We have a ton of hockey in Card Letter now. Another hockey guy, cannot pronounce his name. I'm ashamed. I shouldn't have even scrolled over that one. But yes, we have 8 headlines that come out every day. So there are plenty of cards that are ticking up, maybe doing more than ticking up, maybe absolutely exploding up. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I'm just chuckling that Trae Young prices are going up now that he's not playing.
That's the recipe, right?
I'm never going to get over that. This is so funny to me. The MJ LeBron auto thing, that's genius, man. I never would have thought of that.
We didn't get a single question on that. Maybe it happened
Really?
too early in the week, and there was too much other news coming in. But
I don't know, man. I think there's something there.
there might be something there. Gary V had tweeted about his recent discovery of dual and triple autos featuring Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James in any combination. And what do we say? Welcome. I'm not an auto collector, actually, so I'm, that's great. I obviously see the appeal of those cards, but some of us are still waiting for Gary to make that pivot into the rubies and the PMGs and those sorts of things. Maybe we'll be waiting a long time. What do you think about Gary V's pivot into dual and triple autos of the 3 basketball goats?
I mean, he's been pretty upfront and honest that he doesn't really talk about things or get into them until he really fully understands them and researches them. So, I give him credit for that. It says to me that he's just moving along pretty slow. He's probably putting, 5% of his time into the hobby, given that it's taken him a couple years to kind of get to this point. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's funny for us because it's pretty obvious to most of the people who've been involved in the hobby for a long time. So we just we poke fun at it and we have fun with him on that. But I don't think there's anything earth-shattering about it.
Yeah. Well, do you think we'll see some pretty cool dual and triple autos of those 3 guys at the National?
I mean, I'm gonna bring my dual auto just to see if I can sell it for $1 billion.
What one do you have?
I have the Jordan LeBron exquisite dual auto.
That's kind of a nice card.
Kind of a nice, yeah. I mean, there's something there, I think.
There might be something there. Tiger Jordan 311 says, do you have any comments or reaction to the Washington Post article profiling Sasha T. And do you agree with Sasha that not pulling the trigger on the Jordan RC with his investment partner was a mistake? So for those who haven't seen it, the Washington Post did a story called "On the Hunt for the Next Sports Card Score." It profiles Sasha T and discusses the hobby writ large. And it's written in a narrative tone. It has a storytelling arc to it. It's not dry. It's interesting and engaging and a long form piece. So I'm not going to read it on the air here. Shout out to Ryan. That's Sasha's partner that's referred to in the question. And what do you think about this Washington Post piece telling a part of the story of the hobby through Sasha?
I thought it was great. You know how much I love the story part of it, and I think it makes it more of like a human story, right? Versus like, the all-time highs are kind of disconnected from us as humans and our stories. So I really liked the piece. I thought it was a great angle and a great perspective on it. And we all know Sasha has great content around, his travels through the hobby and his deal making. And so I thought the article did a good job of portraying him in that same sort of role, and I thought it was good. Yeah, it was entertaining. The deal. Sorry, I was trying to remember the other question. The deal. I mean, if you're not feeling the deal and you don't want to do it, then don't do it. So I thought he, if it was the right decision for him, then can't second guess yourself. Got to move on.
I think it may have worked out because I believe the Fleer PSA 10 MJ rookie that they were talking about was the one that was removed from eBay anyway because there were bidding issues. So ultimately, a moot point.
Gotcha. Well, there you
go. Excuse me. Here's what I thought the article was terrific. The article used a lot of gambling metaphors and analogies to explain the hobby, which I don't think is entirely accurate. I think there's a lot of things that distinguish the hobby from gambling. Hobby is more so in line with fandom than gambling, in my opinion. But there's elements of both, for sure. But after I sort of said, they made a lot of remarks about gambling, and that's cool, but it's just not. This isn't really gambling. Like this, this is not the hobby experience. Isn't so much like sitting down at a blackjack table or something, or playing a slot machine. There's something else going on. However, when I said that, our friend Justin 610 Sports Cards said, yeah, but the gambling metaphors are interesting and they kind of work because they communicate the excitement that this little slice of heaven that we all get to experience, what it means to us. And I loved the slice of heaven metaphor much better. That is what the hobby is for a lot of us, is it not? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you and I were talking on a chat the other day about how there's just not that much conversation or content around collecting anymore, and it's just all the stuff around it. And even this show is getting sucked into it with companies buying each other and gambling and Top Shot, and it's just there's just so much content around not the core of it, and I think that's kind of what you're getting at. And it's kind of awkward. It's weird. I'm not sure if people are just bored of the main topic at heart, which is the collecting side of it and the cards themselves. But I don't know. What do you think of that? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just interesting.
No, there's something to that, especially when an author for the Washington Post is going to try and take on and put into a column, try to distill the hobby into a column. The first thing that they're going to reach for is that thing that seems to appeal to human, I don't the most at the most fundamental level. There's the volatility, the swings, the highs and the lows, the gamble of it all, right? But there is something deeper that I think is the more appealing part. I don't know. You may be right though. To do content surrounding collecting and to do it in a way that's not really stuffy and not really dry, it's hard to do. It really is hard to do. It can either come off as very arrogant, or it can come off as niche, or it can come off as eccentric. It's difficult to really like it's difficult to tell the story of the hobby.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely not like criticizing the Sasha article. I just like a tangent I was going off of. I'd like to see more content around that because I thought the article did a nice job of, like I said, showing the role that Sasha has put himself in the hobby, and I think it's an interesting story for sure.
It is, and huge congrats to Sasha. Sports Card Investigator was mentioned, makes a brief appearance. Congratulations to everybody who was a part of that article. And I saw that it had 169 comments. The Washington Post article did. It looks like it had a good reach. It was provocative. It intrigued people. Probably a small catalyzing moment in the hobby that,
Yeah.
you know, brought back who knows how many people who started digging through their collections and are going down that rabbit hole that we all went down at some point ourselves. All right.
I thought last thought. I thought the interesting part of it for me was that, he's only 22 and he just came from his job working on pools. And so that to me is appealing because, the average person reading that's looking for some inspiration to kind of, maybe jump into something that's a little bit riskier, but something more enjoyable for their life. There's opportunities out there for anyone, no matter what you're doing in your current day job. There's always something that could make you happier, and you and I know that better than anyone. So a little bit of inspirational stuff there around like him finding a job that he enjoys doing every day. And he even said, like, I don't even consider it a job anymore. It's just like, this is what I do.
Yeah, it's in the lifestyle component of it really.
Yep.
The lifestyle of this hobby is really one of the coolest parts about it if you do it right. There was a big topic this week, and we had a bunch of questions on it, and then I'll give a little explainer to fill in the gaps, and then we'll talk about it. Cardboy Cap asks, is there any PSA news? Yes. Lee Sports Cards Live says, please talk about the end of the Joe Orlando era. Tiger Jordan 311 says, reaction to Joe Orlando's announcement today. Mike Pinkerton 50 says, what do you think about the CEO of PSA leaving? Fresh Finds 101 would love to hear your thoughts on Joe Orlando stepping down. Say Hey Cards says, please discuss Nat Turner settling all family business. And finally, that was a vicious dunk. That was a poster. And then finally, Riverfront Collectibles says, why is it that every time a piece of hobby news or drama breaks, every account with more than 87 followers feels it is necessary to give their take on it? It's like Cool Story, Card Addict 837-303-938. I couldn't wait to hear your feelings on Joe Orlando since you clearly are qualified after successfully flipping 7 Tyler Hero second-year Mosaic PSA 9.
Boom. Tell us how you really feel.
It sounds like David was auditioning for a guest slot on the crossover here.
I mean, dude, we take auditions. I mean, might as well, man.
Might as well. All right, so many of you will recognize this photograph of Joe Orlando. He put out his final newsletter today from his newsletter called Taking My Hacks. He says, without a doubt, this column was the most difficult to write in my nearly 22 years at the company. This letter is titled, Thank You. I'm not going to read or belabor the whole thing. I think the most interesting part here, if you would like to read more about Joe's testimony relating to his time at PSA, it is a really interesting story. But the most important paragraph here for our purposes is the third to last. He says, effective immediately, Collectors Universe Executive Chairman and fellow collector Nat Turner will be stepping into the CEO role. Since our company was purchased several months ago, Nat has been extremely involved in decision-making, especially as it relates to building our infrastructure. This will enable the company to scale and bring Collectors Universe closer to its ultimate vision. For years, Nat has been a consumer and supporter of PSA, so he is very familiar with our brand and the services we offer. And that was the extent of the commentary on the changing of the guard. 22 years, Joe Orlando was there, and now he is stepping down as CEO, and Nat Turner is stepping up as CEO. And let's fire some takes off.
Well, first of all, you can say whatever you want about Joe, I mean, he's taken a ton of heat over the years. He even mentioned it in that article that he's been kind of a punching bag.
He did.
But since he's taken over PSA as CEO, they've been by far the most successful grading company. So, you know, you could take your shots, but he obviously did a fantastic job growing that company to where it's at now. So, and I think PSA has a lot to be grateful for on his part. So, you know, congrats to him on all the success he saw over the years, and best of luck to him. I'm not sure what to think, you know, really. I mean, other than me just like guessing and speculating on the internal workings of the company. Obviously, the new owners coming in, the timing of it makes it look like either the new owners wanted to go in a different direction or he wasn't seeing eye to eye. Again, we'd just be speculating, so I'd rather not guess at what's going on there. You can use your imagination, but clearly there's probably some differences on the direction, and so I would think that Nat's taking over temporarily because CEO is a full-time gig and he's got a lot of other stuff he's working on. But you know, this is Nat said himself, like this PSA has always been like his dream, you know, company and job. So like maybe CEO of PSA is always what he's wanted to do, and he'll push off the duties of all these other companies he's buying onto other people. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of good stuff there. I want to add something to your your discussion of Joe Orlando. The final two paragraphs of Joe's letter read like this. He says, "I'm a collector through and through. It's how I'm wired, and that's not going to change. I can't wait to see what the next 2 or 3 decades has in store. The hobby is continually expanding, maturing, improving. It's a great time to be a collector, and more people share the collector gene and are being introduced to our way of life each day. No matter what I decide to do from this point forward in my life, I will be a collector for life, forever grateful, Joe." I mean, so in the most significant portion, the closing of his final article in his capacity as CEO of PSA, and he would write these often, so this is, you know, this is not a one-off. This is a meaningful part of his contribution as CEO. He signs off by underscoring numerous times that he is a collector and a collector for life. And, you know, pretty interesting. And I think, you know, I think that baton is being passed to Nat, right? And Nat is taking that baton, and he's and Nat is of a similar, cut from a similar cloth. Also to Nat. Nat is a hobby success story, is he not? Nat was just a kid who was collecting cards and one day grew up to be the CEO of PSA. I think just strip away everything else. Isn't it every little collector boy and girl's dream to become the CEO of PSA one day? Maybe not, but it is for some, and Nat achieved it. Nat has reached the pinnacle of the industry. He is the CEO of PSA. Congrats to Nat. And I don't know why anybody would want it from the point of view of you're going to take a lot of heat, man. You are going to get a lot of heat, no matter how charming and how incredible of a collector you are. Your neck is now on the line, much the way any other CEO of PSAs would be. So Nat is incredibly courageous to take on this role, which like Joe is sort of hinting at in his article.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm sure it will be challenging, fun, exciting for Nat. I don't really have much more than that on this topic, man. It's very newsworthy, but not really controversial. It's a significant changing of the guard over there at PSA.
Yeah, the more interesting take or story, just to me, like how many companies the Collectors Universe group has amassed, and like what the plan would be. Like, I mean, my guess would be the plan is to be like the Amazon of cards, where you just sort of control the full supply chain.
Yeah.
So like him moving into the CEO roles of one of them, you know, potentially the biggest one of the companies, is interesting because I would foresee him being more of the overall mastermind, but I don't know. I'm just be guessing. So we'll have to wait and see.
We will, but big news, big hobby news, and more news to come from from that story, I'm sure as well. Another topic relating to Nat, JHC Cards says with Collectors Universe, which is the parent company of PSA, acquiring WADA, the video game grading company.
I forgot about that.
Do you see any stop to them extending their branch of Impact? At first, the jokes of them owning a company like Panini were funny, but it seems like that may not be so far from Collectors Universe overall goals. At this point, the group and Nat keep making headlines weekly, which is true. And let me just bring up this Sports Collectors Daily article by Rich Mueller. Collectors Universe expands to video game acquisition grading company WADA. The acquisition of WADA marks the first major categorical expansion beyond trading cards for Collectors Universe, beyond trading cards, mem, and coins. Other Collectors Universe services include PCGS along with PSA. WADA graded games regularly sell for record prices. In addition to the recent $1.56 million Super Mario 64 sale, other WADA graded games have set records, including an 87 early production of The Legend of Zelda, which sold for $870K, as well as a copy of Super Mario Bros., which sold for $660K. Josh, you had the founder of WADA on Cardboard Chronicles, must have been over a year ago, and it seems like you saw the writing on the wall that grading video games, that was a burgeoning sector of collectibles, and I'll be damned if it isn't. What do you think about PSA acquiring WADA and more generally grading video games and the market for them?
Sure. Yeah, so this one I do have more knowledge on just because I got pretty involved with Dennis, who's one of my favorite guys I've met in the hobby. Just a super, super smart guy, and he's kind of like us, you and I. He's just like a mega collector, always been involved in the hobby. He's loved collecting video games for a really long time. I loved his backstory. That's why I had him on the show. And then he turned it into a business and started grading games. And I mean, frankly, I thought the WADA grading infrastructure and system and like it's not a slab, it's like a case, but I thought their whole the way that they were running things was better than anything we have in cards. Just based on what I saw from him and their company and like the case and the technology they use to be able to scan the cases and like have the games on them. They had like it was like a barcode matrix thing. It was like a proprietary thing. I thought it was incredibly impressive. The games presented really well in the cases. I just thought the whole thing was really cool. Like I didn't really have as much into it as I would with cards because I didn't have as much nostalgia for it, but I definitely bought some games because I thought it was a very interesting, cool topic. And I know Nat, I know Dennis, so like those two linking up made a lot of sense to me. I thought both are really smart guys, and to see them work out a deal like that, I thought was kind of cool. I mean, I think PSA can learn a lot from WADA, to be frank. I think they can glean some really cool technology advances, and I think Dennis and his team are really smart guys, and I think that'll be actually some cool stuff to come from that, to be honest. Like I think PSA will make some cool updates to their slabs, and he'll start to get some insights on what sort of like customer feedback they've gotten on the slabs and the cases and stuff. So I thought all that was really cool. The video game market is, man, it's going crazy, right? I worry a little bit that it's going to be a little bit of a middle finger situation just because it's been so hot and pushed by so many people. But I think it's going to be more similar to Pokemon in terms of like it'll be a temporary middle finger because the people that I met in that hobby when I was digging into it are extremely sticky with it, and they really enjoy it, and there's a real collector passion to it. So I think it'll be fine long term. And just the news of this and like that Mario, like I would anticipate a little bit of a middle finger on that.
Nice. That hits all the boxes on that topic. What about this idea you touched on a little bit earlier? This idea that Collectors Universe, or more specifically Collectors Holdings. So you have Collectors Holdings, Collectors Universe, PSA. Collectors Holdings has Golden, and you have Collectors Universe, and now under Collectors Universe you have WADA. and they're venturing, as Rich Mueller points out, they're venturing for the first time into a new category, which is games. Um, they're building a conglomerate over there for sure. Any thoughts on this? Is there an arms race going on right now to be the first one to monopolize the supply chain, as you said?
Well, we'll probably touch on the Panini thing next. But the Panini one is the major domino still to me. Like, if you control the supply of the creation of the cards, or more specifically, like have the licensing, which we at this point I'm expecting like the licensing news to come out, because, or not that I have any insight, but like if we have a down week, I'm just like, okay, when are we gonna find out the licenses have shifted? Or, what I mean? Like everything's so crazy. Yeah, the monopoly thing is interesting. I don't really have a lot of experience in like corporate world of monopolies and like what sort of effect that has on the industry long term. So we're all just gonna have to kind of wait and see how it plays out for cards. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, we will. I don't know. Lots of money. Lots and lots of money being thrown around, being invested.
Yep.
And okay, we don't have any questions on Panini, but maybe we'll touch on that briefly. They're basically, long story short, there is news circulating from different publications that Panini may be acquired by a special purpose acquisition company for the goal of being taken public. That is something that is being discussed, and Alex Rodriguez is a part of it. He's one of the names that's circulating, and he has spoken about the collectibles industry and how bullish he is on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the valuation would be somewhere in the ballpark of like 3 to 3.2 billion. So, and we have the precedent of Topps from earlier this year, which was like 1.2 billion. So let's talk about Panini as the next domino to fall, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the one to me that's like some of these other ones. I think they could afford to have some, afford to take their time, maybe like change directions, have some missteps, and I think we'll get through it. But the Panini one is really interesting to me because if we fuck up the creation of the cards, I think that's the biggest domino that could really screw everything up. Because if we don't have the cards, what are we? What are all these other businesses? They're all just like supporting nothing. So that's kind of what I was getting at earlier in the show, is like we're not talking about the cards as much as we should, because that's what this whole thing is. So if the cards start shifting in the creativity of how we create them and the distribution of them and the supply and all this, there's so many factors. Those are the things that are going to have the biggest effect on everything else. So we just that's the one that I've got the Sauron eye right on Panini, is like what's going to happen there with licensing and the licenses, like I said, the creation of it, the direction in which the supply goes, the distribution, all these different things have a really strong ripple effect.
You sparked a thought over here.
Sauron's
no, that was sparked a good thought too. You said that all these other businesses, they orbit the cards themselves, and they serve the cards. And in order to have a grading company, you need the cards. In order to have,
we're gonna grade.
In order to have an app that tracks the markets and allows you to manage your collection and play fun fantasy games, you need the cards. In order to have a marketplace, you need cards to sell. In order to have a hobby shop, you need the cards. It all does center around the cards, and that's a really important piece that has to be done right, or else none of the rest of the stuff makes any sense, and the whole thing gets thrown into disarray. And so what I started thinking about after you said that was, well, so like these institutional grade investment groups like Collectors Holdings or like Blackstone, each of these entities are now, combined in the billions invested into this industry. They cannot leave it to chance whether or not the cards keep getting made. They can't leave that to chance. That's way too risky. to do that, right? Like
Right.
they don't want to leave. They don't even want to leave that up to some other business. I think they would prefer to control that. So just for no other reason than protecting the billions that are already invested in this industry. So I think we will see a strong push from people who are already strongly invested to either control the card manufacturing process in some way, shape, or form, whether it's making a strong bid for the license when it comes up, or it's acquiring Panini, or Panini being basketball and football among, and they have UFC and others, and you have Upper Deck hockey, you have Topps baseball. I just had an epiphany where I was like, whoa, these guys have put billions into this industry. This industry orbits the cards themselves. That's a really important piece that they cannot leave up to chance.
Yeah, that also reminds me, people are like, is the market gonna crash, or, is it gonna correct for the next 10 years kind of thing? There's so much institutional money that, like you said, those people are gonna want to protect their investment. They're not gonna want the market to go down, and they're gonna keep throwing money at it to I don't want to say like pump it up, but like there's so much infrastructure being put in place, and us included. Like we're putting in these pieces that kind of hook people in the hobby long term. We're gonna build our own little reboot cycle on nostalgia just in these next couple of years. Like there's just so much energy and effort put towards this industry that it's not just gonna go away overnight. Whether someone wants it to crash to get their dream card cheaper or not, it's too bad.
Definitely. Razor Sports Card says PSA is going to buy Panini and change Prism to Natzum.
Well, let me remind everyone that PSA sold for, what was it, 800 million, and Panini's in talks of valuation of 3 billion. So I don't know if it's that easy to just like go up that way.
No, it's not. And those are two different categories of acquisition. 800 million versus 3 billion. Those are 3 billion. You're talking like the value of one of the most elite NBA franchises. $3 billion. That's a different echelon, and takes a different level of investment to acquire something like that. Dodger 2008-10 says, I don't see how it's positive that Panini or Topps go for big money. The new owner has to either increase prices or print like crazy, neither of which bodes well for the hobby. And doubly true if they go public, because if they go public, now there's strong pressure to show quarter-over-quarter growth.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, because the hobby to me is built on rarity and supply and quantity, and like you're right. If you're taking the company public, then you damn sure better be showing some profit. And how do you show profit? By creating more product, selling more. So what does that mean? That's an interesting thought.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It could be very disruptive to the whole supply chain right now, from the card to the end consumer, because distributors, there's a whole process of markup that happens from when the manufacturer sells it to the distributor sells it to the breaker, to the card shop, and then they turn it around to the consumer. Like there's markups that happen at each step. There's profit built in, and a new owner or a new philosophy of these companies could completely disrupt that supply chain in order to capture more of those middleman profits for themselves. And they could have a strong incentive to print more. It's an excellent point, and it's not all roses. If Panini goes, it'll be exciting for a moment, but then reality sets in.
A Goods Only, shout out one of our loyal customers, Card Ladder. He asked the question, and this is a great thought on this topic: what other companies in a different industry have been like a massive company where supply is important and like the rarity and cool factor? And he said Nike. I think that Nike and Jordan Brand. And dude, how many times have I called out cards being like this cultural thing similar to like fashion and shoes? And that's why I really like that Nike Jordan Brand call out, because it's so true. It's about like, you don't want everyone having the latest Jordan release, but you still need to make profit. So how do you do that? And I think Nike and Jordan Brand have done a really good job of that. by creating limited releases and like creating hype around different types of shoes and creating like this exclusivity thing to it. And I think cards could learn a lot from that because I've said it so many times. The cultural aspect of cards is the artistry, the rarity, the mystery, the creativity from the 90s stuff. All of that is like the most important to me to be this like long lasting thing in society. And so if we can learn from Nike and Jordan, that's a really great call out.
Yeah, that's well said. Anything
'Cause
else on the Panini topic?
no, I'm on a rant now, but like it's just everything's about like fucking companies and markets and industries and stocks and public, and it's like, dude, this isn't this isn't what sells product. What sells product is cultural things that people like, things that are cool. I want something that's cool, and cards are cool. Fucking companies are not cool. Stock markets are not cool.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It would be nice to see the hobby content aggregators make aggregated content about look at how excellent this card is. Not what it's sold for, not the celebrity who acquired it, not the slab that it's in, but just the card. This is a piece of hobby history, and here's why.
Dude, show me that channel. I'm even mad at myself for not doing it.
Still time. Although, if anybody is close to it, Exquisite Collector does a lot of this. He'll post cards and
Sure.
tell the story of the card. Spinatron takes an eccentric and interesting perspective on hobby history and cards that he has. So, but yeah, I think there's room for hobby content surrounding cards. So what better way to transition into the next topic, which is which is an important one, but it's also one that is drama filled and gets the juices flowing for some people. And unsurprisingly, this question comes from Card Porn. Card Porn says, as there have been a lot of new people entering the hobby, can you give an explainer as to why conservation, trimming, and repair is a no-no for cards, while it may be an acceptable practice in the art world? Happy for you to reference the trimmed LeBron card post that we did and why it's important that trimmed cards and other altered cards are a problem in the hobby. And so here is the post that they're referring to. It's referring to a 2003 SPX LeBron jersey auto card. And basically, let's see if they have the close-ups here. So there was an analysis done that looked at the gaps between the border of the card, and basically, let's see if they have the zoomed in photo on here. So they start zooming in and they start noticing that the gaps are different. That there's more top edge on one card than there is on the other card. Here we go. You have arrows indicating, arrows pointing to the fact that there's more top edge on the before than there is on the after. And so there's reason to think that this PSA 9, which now it once was a PSA 9, it's now PSA 10. And there's reason to think that it was trimmed to get bumped to a PSA 10. Heritage is currently the ones running it at auction, and they told Card Porn that they are looking into it. And I think the latest news is that they have sent it back to PSA for review. So what do you think, first of all, on the question of conservation or trimming / repair? Why is this not accepted in cards? And then maybe a broader discussion about trimming in general.
Yeah, that was like a super hot topic. Like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and it's sort of died off because of all the excitement around cards, and the attention has moved elsewhere. But it's still like a lingering thing, and I would even go as far as to say that like a lot of these new people that are investing these billions of dollars in this industry don't know about some of these things like at all. Like if I asked Jay-Z and Rock Nation about like, oh, do you guys know about the trimming scandal that you just bought into and like how you have to figure out how to grade that stuff? Oh, wait, what? Like it's definitely like a thing that's gonna always be there, and it's very scary for sure, and it's like a little bit of a cloud over our hobby. And why it's acceptable in art and not cards. I mean, at this point, it's just got a massive stigma around it, and like it's just got this black eye on it that people just want to avoid. And you, at this point, like owning a card that's has a history of trimming is just it's something. It's like the what's that fucking author with the beating heart under the thing? Like it's just something you don't. It's just you want to avoid it. You don't want to. It's just this thing that's going to bother you having that card in your collection. So I'm not sure that's going to go away. It's just got too much. It's just got too much momentum behind people not wanting trimmed cards. So again, the blowout forums have done a pretty good job with this stuff and like catching it and bringing it to light. So like we got to keep an eye on it. Unfortunately, forever. It's gonna be a problem. I haven't seen as much like new stuff. A lot of these like there was a bunch of trimming and stuff that was going down years ago. And I'm not sure that's still happening quite as prevalent as it was back then. But it probably still is happening to a certain degree. So we just got to keep on top of it.
Definitely. Tons of great takeaways there. Going back to like the heart of the question, why is conservation / trimming not accepted in sports cards? I'll give you one reason why. Sports cards, no matter how badly we want to avoid this conclusion, some of us, sports cards is about collecting at the end of the day. It is very pure. And it's very puritanical. And so if why would somebody trim a card? Why would they swap out a patch? The reason why is self-enrichment. Exactly. Money. And that is not pure. And that is offensive to the puritanical impulse that many sports card enthusiasts and collectors have. Even those who aren't even aware that they have it. And they're not even 100% sure why they resent the trimming. On a primal level, we resent the trimming because it's somebody doing something deceptive for the purpose of taking money. Okay. Yes. And so that's just offensive at the most basic level. So that's why we don't stand for it and we don't tolerate it. Is because it's something that's sleazy. You're altering an item and it's deceiving the person who's buying it because it's not being disclosed. And you're throwing it into a slab for the purpose of making more money than the card would have made you if you just sold it as is. And so it also like speaks to this like PSA 10 or gem mint graded culture that some people don't like either. Mm-hmm. Like it should be more about the card than the grade. So what do you think about that?
No, you're 100% right, and I'm embarrassed to not have brought that up. You're absolutely right. Every TV show and movie that my son watches, the bad guy is always the greedy guy. It's always the guy trying to make extra money. And it's so true. Like we definitely get real pissed off when someone does something to damage the reputation and overall appeal of the card or not appeal, but like the sanctity of the card in order to profit. That's a big no. So you're right.
Yeah, it is. And for that reason, the other thing too is like cards, like, okay, if something like a PMG green is trimmed or altered, it will matter to the market value of the card, but it's still going to command an incredible amount of money. There's only 10 of them for each player. So we'll like compared to a PSA 9, will a PSA authentic altered sell for less of a PMG green? It will. But we don't care as much when the card is super rare. Okay, somebody tampered with it. Just make sure it's in an authentic altered holder, and I want that card because it's about the card. But for a card that might have hundreds of copies that are already PSA 10s, and you just add another PSA 10 to the population because somebody trimmed it and just throws it in there, there's no tolerance for that. Nobody wants that card anymore. Okay, so it comes down to like the rarity and the collectability of these items. And that's why there's never going to be a tolerance for trimming or altering cards that already naturally pack-pulled gem mint condition ones exist in the wild. So we don't need to restore them because there already are good copies out there. Just be patient, wait for it to come to the market and buy one. So we don't need restoration. We don't need trimming. And if trimming or restoration does happen to a super rare item, then just make sure it's designated as restored or as altered. And then and altered cards have their own market. And there are altered cards that sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of the most landmark sales in the history of the hobby, Nat Turner acquired a PSA authentic altered PMG green Michael Jordan for $350,000 in February of 2019. So there is a place for altered cards, but they have to be designated as such. We have to know what they are, and they'll never be as desirable because there's other copies out there. So, but it's like you said, trimming was a super hot topic 2 years ago. That was
when people were focused on the cards.
That's right. All right, Slight in the Mood. Mostly 90s basketball cards says you have to select one card from your personal collection that you can never sell or trade, and upon your death, many years from now, it will be shot off into outer space in what future hobbyists refer to as to the moon ceremony, honoring your legacy as a collector. Which card are you choosing?
What the fuck? Do I lose the card?
Well, but it's upon your death, so.
So it's like a Game of Thrones, like where they fucking send it in the boat and they have to like shoot the arrow at it and light it on fire kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know how to pick a card for that weird designation. I guess I'll pick the PMG green Penny Hardaway. God.
Good. That was a nice thought. I wanted to put that question right after the super serious topics. I would blast off into outer space a Luka Prism-based PSA 10 and encourage all 17,000 others to get sent out into space as well.
Well, by that time, when you're dead, there's going to be about 40,000, so.
Cause an environmental catastrophe.
Will you have hair in this scenario?
Okay, well, all right, well.
You might get like hair plugs or something by then.
Maybe, or maybe everybody just decides to go bald, and then I just blend in, and there's no issues anymore.
Come home, Chris.
All right, KPB Card says, what are some best practices when buying cards from people overseas?
Oh, that's a good question. Here we go. Collecting topic. This is great. So if I were going to buy a company, hold on. I have to reset my train of thought. The first thing is FedEx overnight. First and foremost, insurance on your collection, and if you have an insurance for your collection, it'll cover shipping insurance. So make sure you do FedEx overnight, adult signature. Make sure the person you're buying from overseas does that. Make sure it's very explicit. FedEx overnight, even if it costs extra or whatever. Make sure you have the insurance outside of FedEx, because with FedEx you're going to want to say that it's like a low cost item for like a gift or whatever, so that it doesn't trigger any customs issues and all this stuff. So like make sure you have the insurance covered yourself, and then try to find a middleman if you can, someone that can vouch for the person overseas, because it's obviously a little bit scary since it's not a domestic shipment. So you just do the best you can. I've done several overseas deals, and to me those are like the most exciting deals because they have the most like mystery and risk to them, and I've always enjoyed them. So as long as you do all those things, I think you're about as safe as you could possibly get, and you can still keep that excitement level of getting a rare card from overseas.
That's great advice. And on the other side of the coin, Chrissy Buckets wants to know, have you guys ever covered selling internationally? Is it as easy as clicking the option on the eBay listing, or are there other things to be aware of?
Well, eBay, you can't do it on eBay, and then they'll give you like the customs form when you're shipping. Like they take care of all that stuff for you. It's not a big deal on eBay for sure. Like when you're selling the item, you do have to like say whether or not you're willing to do that. There's an option that's like, I'm only willing to ship domestically, or I will ship internationally. And then there's like a little bit of extra shipping costs on your end. But you can actually like have eBay calculate the cost and put it on the buyer. I mean, eBay does a pretty good job with all that stuff, so it's not really that big of a concern. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Also, eBay has the global shipping program, or at least
Yeah.
it did the last time I
Well, you
used it.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So global shipping program is just you don't have to ship it internationally at all. You send it to Kentucky to a warehouse in Kentucky, and eBay handles the rest, which is I prefer to do that.
Totally.
Good. Okay. South Park Cards asks, is there becoming a space race of monopolizing certain sectors of the hobby?
Like you mean like buying companies and stuff?
I don't know. That might more
Yeah.
so be I interpret it as like people carving out
Mm,
niches that are associated with certain things. So like this guy is the soccer card guy. This guy is the LeBron guy. This guy's the Jordan guy. This guy's the post very eccentric weird stories guy.
sure. I mean, I hope so, because that means more specializing and more, um, like when you specialize in something, you're just better at it. So like those areas would be more improved if it was more focused like that, more niche within the niche. I mean, I don't know how else to answer that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and specialization is good. And I don't know. It, you can no longer be a generalist. Well, I say that, but we're kind of generalists. But it's difficult to be a generalist. It'll because there's so many content creators now. It's probably advantageous to like home in on one specific niche.
Was that question from Zane?
Yes, it was.
He said he meant companies.
Oh,
Told you.
okay. Sorry, Zane and Josh.
Um, Back to companies buying each other. Yeah, I just don't like have any experience with like monopolies and market company buy-ups like in other sectors. I just don't have any. I just don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what like the trickle down effect of it means necessarily. I don't know if it's good or bad long term.
Yeah. Well, we kind of discussed this earlier, but there definitely seems to be a space race of um, trying to acquire a chunk of the distribution chain, or trying to own the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there are different distribution channels, right? Like
Right.
there are there's definitely companies out there and visionaries out there who want to own as many slivers of this hobby as possible, from marketplace to vault to auction house to grading to other adjacent collectibles to fractional to the cards themselves. I think it will be the big domino to fall next. So, all right,
I have a comment. It's
yeah,
like a subtle shot at everyone else, so I'll probably get, DMs tomorrow. The focus of Card Ladder isn't to like expand and, build some empire. It's to make a cool product for collectors. Like, I mean, look no further than Apple. Apple's main goal in everything they've ever done has always been make a product that's really good for the customer. Make a phone that everyone's going to love forever, and they've done that as good as any company that's ever existed, in my opinion, because everyone has an iPhone now and they all love it. And it's like their favorite thing that they own, right? It's like their prized possession is their iPhone. And so, like, if your focus is to build a product that people really enjoy, I don't think you can lose. And so, like, I know that you would agree with me, but I take a lot of pride in Card Ladder, just in the sense that I know that people really enjoy it and they have fun with it and they like it. So, I can sleep pretty well knowing just that.
no doubt. The chat enjoys that quite a bit. Yes,
Oh, good.
good, good. Josh equals Steve Jobs.
Oh, I need to turtleneck this motherfucker. I feel like I'm the Woz though, right? Aren't you the Jobs in this scenario?
Maybe we're each a bit of both. That's kind of how
Like,
all this goes.
I've always liked Jobs, so let me be a little bit of Jobs.
You can have Jobs. I don't resonate with either of those two guys very much, so
Have you seen those movies? Like any of them?
I saw the one that had I saw the main Steve Jobs Apple movie.
Which
Wow.
there's two.
Sounds like I didn't see it, but I did.
There's
I
two.
definitely did.
There's two. There's an Ashton Kutcher one, and then I'm blanking on the other guy's name, but there's another one.
I saw the non-Ashton Kutcher one. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Josh fires people daily, and Chris has to retire the next day. Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. How about Buffett and Munger if we're really going there?
I think I don't want to be too like dramatic here, but I feel like I'm a little bit of Buffett mixed with Jobs, mixed with LeBron,
Little bit of Penny Hardaway early 90s.
All my heroes. I try to be those guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, no doubt. Mostly 90s basketball card says Josh wants to be Steve Jobs, but he just shot his PMG green into outer space, so he's actually Elon Musk.
True that.
Ken wants to know if this is a slow news week, Mr. Gold.
That was the first joke that I made when we started the show, Ken. I was like, I don't think there's any news this week. Let's just move on.
Great minds. So I'm going to little Steve Jobs, little bit of LeBron, a little bit of Ken Golden, little bit. Okay. Bring Ken on and get him in trouble with the wife. No, we don't want to do that to Ken. We do not want to do that to Ken, especially with the National right around the corner, right? We don't want to do that. Nationals half away. Oh, sorry guys, it's not Ken. It's actually Nat using Ken's accounts.
Oh, dude, let's talk about the Lamine post about he had a bunch today, but my favorite was the video of American Gangster, Denzel Washington. Can you just show it on the show? Can you get it?
Hang on, I'm getting it.
I don't laugh out loud very much on Instagram, but man, I was really chuckling.
Lamine, that guy's something else. I just need to make sure my volume is good.
You're gonna have plenty of screen real estate, right?
There's no doubt about that. There we go. All right. This was good, even by Lamine standard, which is a high standard.
On that, you block that. You understand? That's alpaca. That's $25,000 alpaca. You block that shit. You don't rubble. Put the club soda on there. Ass motherfucker. And listen, from now on, don't nobody talk to me directly. You understand? You got business with me. You talk to Huey. Huey, you talk to me. You got it? All right. Damn it, never on the phone. You got it? I got it. All right. And take them goddamn sunglasses off. Take the goddamn sunglasses off. Don't rub on that. You block that. You understand? That's how it happens.
You gotta block that shit. This is so good. It's all the guys who Matt has purchased in the last couple fucking weeks, I guess.
But Ken is right. He says, "But Huey is gone." Huey is gone. I didn't get that part of the meme personally, but.
Well, Huey, he was saying that that's the only one he wants to communicate with him, but he's actually the one that's left. So he should have switched. He should have switched Ken, maybe, and Joe.
Good meme. Good memeage from the meme. All right.
That was good stuff. Lamine is just like having a field day with all this stuff.
He said he has a gigantic backlog of Nat Turner memes. He just doesn't want to. He didn't want to let out too many at once. Lefko says Nat Turner just bought his parents' house. This is getting out of hand. Yeah.
What's left to buy? Well, I mean, everyone's joking that why hasn't Nat bought Card Ladder? And it's a good question.
That's the last frontier of hobby acquisitions.
Should we be offended that he hasn't bought us yet?
Very, very.
Yeah, I am offended actually, Nat.
Maybe then we can get a headshot in a meme. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal here. I mean, getting bought out is one thing, but making it into a meme is. I mean, I've been in a Denzel Washington meme of Lamine.
That's right. You have.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Training day
meme. Yes. Yeah. That's good. Okay. Jack's Cards 888 wants to know, Panini blockchain, is it here to stay or is it the next Top Shot?
I mean, it came out before Top Shot.
It did.
I think Top Shot's the next Panini blockchain. But the blockchain one actually has like a physical card as well, which is a little bit confusing. But I think it's like you also get the physical card, so it's different. I think that the Panini digital cards stuff, I do not get that at all. That would be the one that I would compare more to these other things. The blockchain ones are, I know some guys in the hobby that have some of those physical blockchain cards, and they're pretty nice looking. So
yeah, they're cool, man. They're cards. They're cards, and then they have a blockchain component that mints or tokenizes the item and then allows for the transfer of the item. But to the extent that Panini blockchain is successful or not, it's partially a function of marketing, but it's also partially kind of telling us, like, we actually don't care about tokenizing things. We care if there's like an investment market burgeoning and speculation and there's a chance to make money, but just the actual act of tokenizing things, we don't really care very much about it. We'll take physical possession and that's enough.
Some people care about it because it could potentially make them money, but
right,
like as a collector, we don't care about it.
Ken says he said, P.S. told you guys about Panini 2 weeks ago.
It was brought up on the show. He is correct.
He is correct about that. Drake's PC has a question. Drake always has very thoughtful questions and pointed ones. LeBron James soon took over as the face of the NBA after Michael Jordan retired. As LeBron nears the end of his career, do you guys think that the next face of the NBA is currently playing in the NBA? Or is that person still in grade school? Are they in college? What do you think?
I think they are playing, and I think it's Giannis and or Luka. And it's interesting because they're both international guys, and that makes sense to me because the internet, as we're watching the USA team lose, game after game, I think it makes sense. The international game is expanding, the NBA is expanding into international markets. The collectible hobby is very international towards the NBA, so like all this stuff kind of comes together for me. And so, like, I think we're fully ready to accept a non-American superstar as the face of the league, and I think it's Giannis and Luka.
No doubts. And I just want to push back on the question and say maybe there doesn't need to be, or maybe it won't necessarily be the case that there's just sort of one torchbearer who defines the next era. You did have the LeBron era. Kobe had a period of time. Jordan. But before that, you had Bird and Magic, and you had Wilt and Russell, and there was tandems and duos and rivalries. So it doesn't necessarily need to be the case that there's just this one undisputed heavyweight champ. There could be several. We could enter into an era that is not dominated or characterized by any one player. That could happen.
Yeah, with the analytics taking over and like data and law of averages and everything, like we might just see total parity. And Adam Silver actually pointed this out because people were asking him, like, are you okay with small market teams being in the finals? Would you rather it have been the Lakers and the Nets? And he was like, no, I love the parity. Parity is great for the market of the NBA. So you're right. Maybe we see just more parity and we see like the Raptors winning and then the Bucks and the Suns and these oddball. I mean, I think that would be kind of cool too. The cool thing about the Suns being in the finals and the Bucks, dude, the Suns have never won an NBA championship. The Bucks haven't won in like for fucking ever. This is great for those markets and those fan bases to have something to root for instead of like, oh god, here's the freaking Lakers and the freaking Celtics again. Like, who cares? We've seen this a million times. I think the parity's great. I mean, you want proof that parity works? Go check out the NFL. They have the most parity of any league, and they're the most successful. So I think the parity is great.
It is, man. And Shia says, tongue-in-cheek, that the Pacers are up next. But I'll tell you this, Trailblazers, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Detroit, Atlanta Hawks, all these teams are looking at the success of these other mid and small market teams, and they're saying, why can't that be us?
Totally.
Why can't that be us? Why can't we get a Chris Paul to pair with a star-studded young roster and put together a championship team? Why can't we draft a Giannis and then him stay with us, same way Dirk did in Dallas? We can do it if they can do it. And so I think that this is great, not just for these two teams in this moment, but I think this is great for the hope for small to mid-market teams in the NBA going forward.
Yeah, I think the parity could be real good for the NBA.
Definitely.
I mean, dude, the fucking Suns didn't make the playoffs last year, and they're in the finals, dude. What fan base would not love that?
Yeah.
Or not like the execution of it, but the possibility. That's what makes the NFL so exciting, is that every year, except the Texans because they suck, every year
And the Bears.
every team has a chance. Well, the Bears have some excitement this year, man. Like, there's a glimmer of hope for every team except the Texans because they suck.
That's so true. That's so true. Cards and Candy 911 says, where do you think Dame Lillard will end up?
Oh man, I don't know. If I had to like bet on it, just back in Portland.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be a seismic shift.
It's the same thing as the Giannis stuff last year, where I felt like I was the only one. I mean, I wasn't, because that's insane to say, but I feel like we were one of the few being like, he's going back to the Bucks. Have you listened to any of his interviews? He's like the most loyal person ever. He's going to re-sign with the Bucks, and he did, and it was like, oh, great, move on to the next story. People just wanted to create a story, whereas the most likely scenario is that he stays, because Dame Lillard has said all along that he's wanted to stay there, so I would just say he's going to stay.
Yep, but that's not getting any clicks on social media.
Very true. I mean, the Lakers, come on. I would love for LeBron to win a couple more titles, but Lillard, Davis, and LeBron is just getting ridiculous.
It's impossible for anybody to be even sniffing free agency without a rumor of them going to the Lakers. So
maybe guys will start to want to go to the Suns. How about that?
Maybe. All right. Cardinal Sports Card says, what would cause BGS or another grader to overtake PSA as the most valuable grader?
Oof. A long time.
A time machine.
A time machine. Yeah, because the issue that I've pointed out on the show a bunch is that the thing that PSA has over those guys that you cannot overcome is the registry, like the depth and the amount of cards that are already graded. That's the thing, because us collectors, we value the population relative to all the other cards in the system. So if it's like a pop one card, only because only one's been graded, it just means nothing compared to it's a pop one out of 500 cards graded. You know, it's just a different ball game. It's really tough to overcome the registry. I would say that nobody could possibly overcome them in the next 10 years.
Strong take, and I think it's right. And the other thing, too, is just legacy and consistency. One of the most important things to a grading company is staying power. Before I want to put any of my cards in my collection into a specific slab, I want to feel like that grading company is going to be relevant in 5, 10, 20 years. And so the way to establish relevance is by showing a long track record and a consistency. And so, yeah, that's going to be really tough to build that. And honestly, like, of all of the segments of the hobby to go into, there's many people who are starting grading companies, and I get it. There's like this huge vacuum.
Yeah.
Of like the $10 to $20. Like, if you can provide a grading service at $10 to $15 to $20 a card, and you can take a card that's worth $10 as a raw card and turn it into $50 if it gets a gem, like, that's a huge market that PSA once like serviced exclusively. And now PSA is currently not doing it at all. It's like there's a huge vacuum there, and people are trying to gather up that market. But the last thing the hobby really needs is another grading company. if I could like be the central planner of the hobby economy, I would take the resources that are being allocated to starting new grading companies and find a way to funnel them into scaling out the current existing grading companies, so that we don't have to look up 20 different pop reports and comp, and the marketplace just gets more and more fractured. But I don't hate on entrepreneurialism at all. Entrepreneurship, that's great. Look, if somebody can make a great new grading company, more power to them. But that's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Yamwax says, what if an independent agnostic registry emerges? So that's an excellent thought.
Registry ladder.
It's an excellent thought. We have received and we have contemplated over here and we've received suggestions to the effect of what if we, because we have pop report data on every card in our database. What if we just had a consolidated list for cards that said this is how many gem mints, this is how many mints, and that makes an assumption. It assumes that a gem mint for SGC is the same as a gem mint for PSA, is the same as a gem mint for BGS, and that's not a far off. That's not a totally unreasonable assumption, right? That's not too far afield. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
There's something there. I cannot get Christina to laugh tonight for the fucking life of me.
Yeah, Christina.
Not paying attention to you guys at all.
What are you doing?
Oh my god. I've got 30 minutes. My goal is to get her to laugh. I'm gonna do it. So just fucking.
What are you doing over there?
I'm working. I'm adding cards.
She's looking at reels.
I gave her great news tonight, and she's still just that's what's just so great about her. She just stays true to herself. She stays focused on the fucking goal.
Miserable at all costs.
You're a fucking idiot. You're gonna pay for that one, dude.
I don't know if you guys know this or not. I've paid for many comments made on
really? How do you pay for it?
Well, Christina gave me great payback one time when she came on the live and gave my daily routine to the audience. So now there's a small game of tit for tat going back and forth here.
It's great because I know so much about both of you, and I know what you like, but more importantly, I know what you dislike. Just like my friend Jim Halpert would say.
That's very ominous. Okay, I also want to call attention to this. I'm not sure why I just thought of this. Maybe something I saw on Christina's screen or something, but PWCC, their premier auction is ending tomorrow night. It's a very lean 66 cards. They have a LeBron RPA, SGC 9.5. And remember, SGC 9.5 is Mint Plus, not Gem Mint. But they've got lots of cool cards, 66 awesome cards on there. So just wanted to call attention to that too. I'll be watching it very closely.
Great. Yep.
Kobe.
I got a pamphlet from PWCC in my mail today. So they're running mailing list, physical mail, just like Golden does. So good for them.
Good. How was the presentation?
Looks great. Yeah. No, PWCC. It's always had, some of my favorite experience, UI design, look and feel to their stuff. So it looked great.
Nice. Golden, speaking of which, just launched a new auction as well with quite a few heavy hitters.
I need to look at this shit.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, they've been live as of a few hours ago.
I can see my laptop over there.
Let's see if there are any bangers on here on the first page. There are. Spoiler. Lot number 1 is a 1980 Bird Magic PSA 10. Lot number 2 is an SGC 7.5 Mansell. Lot 3 is a 33 Gaudy Ruth 149. Another 33 Gaudy Ruth T206 Eddie Plank. Lot number 7 is an 03 UD Ultimate Collection Signatures Gold, number 6 of 23. John James BGS 9.5. Lot number 8, Exquisite Emblems of Endorsement, numbered 8 of 15 from 03, from the first year of Basketball Exquisite.
Damn.
Michael Jordan, Pop 1, BGS 9.5. 0708 Exquisite Kevin Durant RPA BGS 910. This is the rookie parallel numbered to 35. Oh, it's the dual auto MJ and LeBron James, signed game used patch, 1 of
101.
PSA authentic, auto graded 10. Giannis Prism Gold signature, BGS 9.5. Tatis, Haaland, and the good old Fleer 86 PSA 10.
Nice.
Kobe
That LeBron is
refractor.
sick.
Yeah. 03 SB Signature Authentic Gold LeBron out of 50, BGS 9.510. That's a rookie. An Otani Orange, 2018 Bowman Chrome. Another one, but the different pose.
Nice.
So, cool stuff.
Very cool. I love that LeBron, man. I've always wanted one of those gold ones. Those are sick.
It's got that number you like too.
I wish I was just like a mega millionaire, and you guys don't even know what I'd be buying so many fucking cards to be obnoxious. It's like a normal guy paying for his remodel right now, and I can't afford cards. I'm just, it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
First world problems, Chris. We can't afford $1 million cards.
Life is hard. Life is hard. Where did I hear that dual autos like that are rare? Right on this show, bucko.
We said it here first 2 years ago.
And many said it before us.
Did you know, I have this crazy fact that most people don't know about cards, but LeBron James of the Lakers, and I think you probably know him, and Michael Jordan, he used to play for the Bulls, also the Wizards. Those two gentlemen have an exclusive deal with this company called Upper Deck, and Upper Deck does not have the license to be able to print NBA basketball cards. So what that means is there are no officially licensed autographs on sports cards of those two gentlemen, and there have been none since 2009. So what that means is they're rare.
Okay, that is mind-blowing.
I know.
We're going to make a YouTube clip of that with the mind-blown emoji.
I know.
And we need you to just pose right now like... Okay, there we go.
You gotta do the audio thing for Nick so he can capture this moment.
All right, Nick. There's the moment.
I actually learned that clap thing. It's like someone did it when they were filming with me, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And they're like, "Well, that's how you get the little spike so I can find it when I'm editing." I'm like, "That's genius."
Yes, it is. All right. Kobe East Coast wants us to answer the all-time question that has baffled young minds. What about old minds? What came first, the collector or the investor?
The collector.
Stupidest question.
I think it's okay. Wow. I think it is the collector as well. I
can't picture kids buying packs of 52 tops with bubblegum in it being like, I'm going to invest in this shit. I'm telling you right now.
This is a long-term hold, Johnny.
I just can't picture that at all. My father-in-law collected baseball cards starting in 1964, something like that. And he was telling me all the cards he used to collect as a kid, and he'd go to the drugstore and get his pack, get his bubble gum, and it was like the word investment was so far from, and they were mostly for kids. That's why they put bubble gum in it. Mm-hmm. So, if you go back even further, the tobacco cards. There's no way people were investing in that kind of stuff. There's just no way.
No, and
the investment thing is like a baby compared to the collecting.
It is, and you need the collector to be first. And you need the hobby to be fun first, because otherwise you never forge that nostalgia that then comes back and dominates our lives as we're adults. If we didn't have fun collecting cards as kids, and look, investing is fun to adults, but investing is not fun to kids. Kids want to collect cards because it has their favorite athlete on it, and it looks shiny, or it looks neat, and it's colorful, right? So it has to be fun. Kids have to collect it. They have to enjoy the process of putting them into binders or putting them into sleeves. It has to be fun first, and then the investment can come later.
I have a really funny. Someone asked a question about 1952 investors new. Sorry, I'll give you the shout out. Razors sports cards. If 1952 investors knew cards were only in the second inning, I have a funny thought. So if we were in the second inning when all that shit was going down, are we back to the first inning now? Because
The
of the
innings
correction?
may be counting backwards.
I mean, where are we now, guys?
Or we're in a new game. I don't know. One
I-
game is up and we're in the other.
I'm pretty sure I said we were in the sixth inning back then. I feel like I was right.
Okay. Well, but the real question is, what inning are we in now?
The seventh? I don't know.
The real
I mean-
question is, how many innings are in this game?
She speaks. Back to work.
Okay.
She-
All right. I know a few things about you too, Josh. All right. Christina's going live tomorrow.
Oh my god.
All right.
That's so scary.
Jesse J. Pender says, how green can the 1996 Topps Chrome actually get? Could it get so bad across the board in another 20 years that people actually do not want these cards? Oh, man. I don't know. I shouldn't be laughing at that.
Dude, the 96 Topps Chrome, no joke, all seriousness, is the most nostalgic card that exists for me because I was so, everyone had the Beckett magazines, and I just remember seeing the 96 Topps Chrome Kobe refractor on those magazines so many times that, like, I want to own that card today because of the nostalgia, even though I don't collect Kobe. I'm a LeBron guy, but, like, that card itself is, to me, the most, like, iconic, nostalgic card of all time. But I just can't because, like, I'm just so worried about it being green 5 years from now that I can't bring myself to do it. So it's a great reminder to me that, like, every time I want to buy it, I'm like, no, it's going to fucking green the shit. No.
Look, Jesse, this is the first time in crossover history that anybody has ever asked, how green can cards get? And I think the answer to that question is a scientific one, probably, but nobody knows the answer. Nobody even really knows what causes greening either. There's theories. Theories.
We approach infinity, right? The mathematical way of approaching infinity is like it's going to be just the whole card is going to be a glowing, hulkified piece of crap.
The whole card just becomes green. It's just a shade of green. It's just how about that? How about whatever Kobe first turns full green is like, that's the real chase card.
Weekend up, Nate. What's up, Nate? He says that we're in the second inning of greening.
I don't know, man. People, like Josh said, people are concerned about greening, rightfully so.
Just buy a green copy. That's right.
There you go.
Card collecting 82 says just buy a green. Just buy one green. Just give up. It's like the guy who's balding. Just shave your head. Just it's coming.
Amen to that.
The color is called green AF.
A whole new parallel emerges.
The chat needs to take over the rest of the show.
Yeah, I mean, the chat has been great today.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Chat's always good, but
As
tonight is
usual.
yeah.
As usual. We had a lot of questions on 90s cards. Let me get through a couple.
Oh,
Publius 13. Settle a debate for me. Which is the better upper middle class 90s insert? 1998 linchpins or 1997 championship hardware?
Linchpin. I love linchpins.
Yeah.
Championship hardware is really flat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool card, but similar to Playmaker's Theater, it's a little bit disappointing when you get it in hand. It's just a little bit flat. And linchpins is really unique. I like linchpins.
Yeah, linchpins, excellent use of silver foil. Also, I've never seen a small amount of silver foil used more effectively than it is on linchpins.
I've always thought, you know how some people they want to try to invest in a card because they think it looks really cool and like they think other people will eventually catch on to the looks of it. Linchpins has always been that for me. Like I never understood why it hasn't like quote unquote blown up in value because of the looks. I don't want to like be the one to pump it or whatever right now because I don't even own any. But I was like, if you want to buy a cool looking card and you want to buy something that's outside the hype, Linchpins is so sick.
Here is Linchpins.
I love that card, man. And he's got the sweet. I don't know shit about shoes, but I know those are like one of the more popular Jordan shoes, the Flights or whatever. The shoes are sick. The pose, the card, it's just sick.
It's a sick card. Let me pull up hardware real quick too. Hang on just a sec. Like Josh was saying, the pictures don't necessarily reflect how the card presents in hand. It would be nice if the card actually like shined like that in hand, but it doesn't shine. It is flat. But the logo and the hardware text is embossed, which is cool. That's hardware.
It's a cool card. They're both metal, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, shout out to
Concord 11. Sorry, I'm not a shoe guy. Everyone's like, Concord's idiot. You're right. Duh, Concords.
Linchpins sells for a healthy amount these days.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
I know there was a comp of one of these recently. A BGS 9 Jordan Linchpins, BGS 9 sold for $13,000 last December.
Woo.
So that is extremely high for an unnumbered 90s insert.
What's the pop on that one?
31 on the BGS 9.
That's awesome, man.
26 on the 9.5. The
That's
PSA
awesome.
PSA 10 is a pop 6.
I really like for that old of a card, and I really like BGS 9s because it's like it's still mint. Like a mint card from the 90s is tough on its own, but it's way cheaper than a PSA 9. It's way, way, way cheaper than PSA 10 and 9.5. A BGS 9, if you're looking to like collect 90s stuff, BGS 9. Josh Keen is a BGS 9 master. He put me onto the BGS 9s for that like old card kind of thing, and it's a really cool little niche you can carve out for yourself.
Oh yeah, BGS 9 is a sweet lane for those 90s insert guys. MD
Yes,
Farm 23 as well. Michael MD Farm 23
yeah.
he and Josh Keen are like BGS 9 brothers.
Rodman owns a PSA 8. What a fucking loser. Get a BGS 9 like a real man, Rodman. God damn. I'm just kidding, dude. PSA 8's awesome.
I did not expect you to say that.
Yeah, well.
Rodman used to have all the inserts in BGS 9.5, and then he just wanted to go for the grails.
Dude, he traded his wall. We haven't talked about the wall in so long. Tell people about the wall. Tell them about the wall.
The wall. What can you say about the wall? The wall.
Tell them what it is.
The wall is when you have dozens, if not hundreds, of slabs that all have some theme in common. And then when you show them off, you just lay them all out on the floor in a rectangle shape, placing them one by another next to each other. And then you stand and you hover above it and you take a picture of the wall. And then you have a wall. And it's very popular with Jordan collectors, especially insert collectors. They all post pictures of their wall.
But one of the things that we always joke about with the wall is that in order to have the wall, you can't have any mega grails, you can't have PMGs or rubies because those cards are so expensive. You're deciding like, do I want a wall of a bunch of stuff or do I want like 3 or 4 grails? And so if you've chosen the wall, that's the route you go, or you go as Rodman had the wall and he's pivoted into the grails.
Yeah, so his wall became like a window, like a small window. Rodman says he went to the dark side. He's a PSA fanboy now.
I mean, I can't hate on that, you know? I like PSA slabs better, I get it.
Yeah. Cardboard says, wow, if we didn't think we were geeks, this conversation just proved it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting excited because we've been talking so much about this other stuff that like I'm getting excited about the old conversations of cards and walls and
Well,
linchpins.
you don't want to be the Bloomberg terminal every
No,
Friday
I
night?
didn't. No, I did not.
Cards
them
and
coming.
Candy. Cards and Candy 911 says
Hall
downtown.
of Famer.
Huh?
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer for sure. Downtowns, Kabooms, Galactic, Black Golds. Which one of these is the closest to becoming the next PMG? That's a very sneaky investment advice question, sir.
Yeah, I mean he's earned it at this. He's built up so much. He's built up so much cred that he could just straight up ask us, "What should you buy right now?" And we'd probably answer. What were the Downtown, Kaboom?
Downtown, Kaboom, Galactic, Black Gold.
The next PMGs or PMG greens?
Just PMG.
I mean, you're asking a card collector which of those is his favorite, and I'll say Galactic, so that's my answer. I like the other stuff. I don't like Downtown that much. Kabooms are okay. I don't like Black Gold because it's like either be gold or not. quit trying to fool me.
Yep. So Downtown and Kaboom, I would never compare those to PMG. Those are inserts. Compare
Correct.
those to like Jambalaya or Ultra Stars Gold or something like that. Galactic and Black Golds are parallels. I'm with Josh. Black Gold, I've heard it described as the combination of Prism's two best parallels, which are the gold and the black. Nope, you don't like that.
No, you're right, but I don't like that.
No, I know. I don't like that either because let's not water down the two best parallels. Let's just have the two best and
That's correct.
And let them be. So I think by process of elimination, I've arrived at Galactic as well. But if the question was, what's the next PMG green? I vote for the Prism Nebula. I think, or any Nebula. I love the Nebulas. They're one of ones, and one of one in today's era is the equivalent of being like a card out of 99 in the 90s because there's like over 100 one of ones of modern players across over a year's worth of product. There's many one of ones. So Nebula, there's going to be maybe half a dozen to a dozen Nebulas across all the products. I just think Nebula is awesome. And I say this as somebody who owns no Nebulas, but I just think the Nebulas are freaking sweet. And it helps that they look like the PMG Championship 97, 98.
Hey, Rodman, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Please bring your whole PC to National. I need to be back into 90s grails. Like, I need to look at them. I need to hold them. Please bring them. Whatever you got to do. Please respond in the chat.
Please acknowledge. Rodman, it would be great if you brought your PC, but it wouldn't be that great. It'll make me feel bad about mine.
No, bring it. I love his PC.
I once was the only owner of the 98, 99 Rubies in our Jordan chat, and then he had to come along and get a better copy and a better grade.
That's the only card. I told you this when you were at my house. I was like, that's the only card where I would trade one of my Grail LeBrons for that thing. God, that card is sick.
That card is sick. Rodman
No, don't bring your fucking. I don't want your messy cards. Ooh. Speak only Spanish. Yeah. I know a little bit of Spanish, though. Good luck. Nebulas too rare though. Nebulas are the Gem Masters, and Prism Golds are the PMG Greens.
Yeah, that's the natural. that's definitely the natural link there. Both out of 10 and so forth.
Dude, he's bringing his Messi and Dennis Rodman. No, you know what? Don't even bother bringing anything. I don't even care anymore. Yes, I did it. I got her.
All you had to do was make fun of Rodman like 5 times, and then that got Christina.
I just had to like really belittle Rodman.
Rodman and Christina have met, by the way, so maybe that's why Christina feels okay chuckling at his expense.
So she likes me belittling people. All right, Chris. I've been wanting to say a lot of things about you, sir. That I'm gonna have to let them all out.
You already got your laugh.
I didn't laugh yet.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You laughed.
No, you laughed too. Just because my laugh can sometimes sound high pitched, but you laughed.
I did not laugh.
You definitely.
She did laugh. She laughed. Chris, I mean, she doesn't like the bald jokes, so I got to get more creative.
She's probably heard them all.
I don't like them.
No, I wouldn't either if I were you. If someone was making fun of my wife, I'd be like, well, hold on here. Let's,
Is your wife bald or no?
No, she's not.
Rodman says we need a Christina rant.
Yes.
No, not on tonight. Not when it would be like a genuine rant.
a real rant?
Christina can rant when she's not
happy.
ranting. Yes, exactly.
Like actually just screaming at people.
We have to shut down this live real fast.
It's not a rant. That's like a God. What's the word? It's not a rant. She's just rage.
I'll just start calling people out.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. That's what the show needs. Like individuals being called out directly.
Christina, what are you doing? The chat wants to know.
I'm adding cards. What do you mean? What am I doing?
She is putting a 2014 Tom Brady Prism-based PSA 10 into card ladder right now. That's what she's doing.
I need to send her a bottle of champagne. That's what she wants.
That's not what I want. I don't drink. That's not what I want. I don't want your fucking alcohol. That's not what I want.
The rant is beginning. Oh, Card Porn wants to know, Christina, what's the worst card ladder question you've had this week?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Besides that one?
Okay.
I don't get bad card ladder questions. I really respect and adore all of the people who reach out to us. They come from a good place. So even if their questions are redundant, I love taking the time to help them with their questions because that's what I do.
Nice. There's a vein in her forehead that was bulging as she said that.
No, there wasn't.
But that was well said.
Hey. All right, Christina. I got a question that will get you for real excited. What is your favorite pizza joint in New Haven?
Modern.
Oh!
Hands down, no pause. If you're a local, you eat at Modern.
There we go.
No doubt.
Chris,
No doubt. That's the low-hanging pizza pie.
If I'm ever in trouble, I'll just be like, take me to, let's talk about New Haven pizza. What do you do when you're in trouble, Chris? What's your like move?
He doesn't get in trouble.
There you go.
I feel like she gets in trouble with you more than you get in trouble with her.
She gets in trouble with me from time to time.
Messages me and she'll be like, Chris is mad at me. I'm like, well.
What'd you do? Christina, they're saying that you are very PRE.
I don't understand that.
PC.
Me.
PC. Because she is Christina's PC after all.
Being PC.
I don't think I am, but should I guess I'll take that as a compliment? Like,
ooh, nice.
It means you really want to say more than you're saying.
It means you're sugarcoating it.
There's nothing to sugarcoat.
Okay, she's holding strong.
What's Christina's favorite ice cream?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. Okay, so you think chocolate chip's the pepperoni of...
Yes. Because if you can make a good vanilla, I see you, fucking Josh. I'm turned around, looking at the screen, Josh. Nice.
Do you want to make an appearance on the show? No.
Look what Card Porn just said.
No. Delete pic. She's over here looking.
That's not funny.
It's pretty late.
It's getting pretty late.
you're talking about. We usually stay up till 5 a.m.
But it's still objectively late.
Yeah, so everyone else should go to bed so we can keep working.
Yeah, that will happen. How about mint chip?
No, gross. I don't want toothpaste in my ice cream.
So,
That's true. All right, one more question, man.
all right.
Please make it related to cards somehow. Just do your best.
Yeah. How about this? Another 90s question. At Schmo50 says, with how rare and desirable some of the non-serial numbered insert sets with hard pack odds from the 90s are, why are some of the Hall of Fame players on the checklist, not named Jordan or Kobe, worth much more? The price gap seems way off for guys like Duncan, Garnett, and Shaquille O'Neal compared to the big two, which is Jordan and Kobe.
Man, this might be the best question ever of like an investment question.
Yes. The investments and the collecting are intertwined here.
On those older players, something I've noticed in collecting is like the further you get away in time, the less respect you get as a non-GOAT. Like Kevin Garnett's equivalent today. I'm trying to think of a good example where like a current player, if they were Garnett's level, they would be getting a ton of love. But as they like sort of fade away over the years, people, unless you're just like a super GOAT, people kind of forget about you. That's my answer.
Yeah. And Duncan, Garnett, and Shaq, anyway, do command pretty serious prices. You know, these guys came from the 90s. They have rookie cards from 10 to 12 different products, maybe more. They don't have the abundance of cards that modern players have, but they have a lot of cards. And they have refractors, and then they have inserts, and like this question about inserts, like it's not like these guys have tiny catalogs of cards. They have big catalogs of cards. They actually command pretty impressive prices overall. And they make for decent investments too. So let's just look at Tim Duncan's. I haven't looked at his player index yet. Let's just look okay, so Tim Duncan all-time price appreciation, and he was playing for much of this. From 04, it was 1,000, obviously normalized to 1,000, and now his total market index is worth about 8,300. So Tim Duncan is 8.3x over 17 years. So yeah, I mean, you would expect, Jordan was 20 and Kobe was 34. You would expect maybe to see a little bit more. Let's see where Shaquille is at on this. Okay, Shaq's all-time total market player index.
Nice.
It's 7x. And
it's interesting to get.
He was playing for a lot of this too.
All these graphs you pull up, they go flat and they spike way up, and then then they come down a little bit. But like Jordan and LeBron and Kobe went way up, and then they came down just a little bit. Whereas guys that you just showed there come way up and then way back down because the hobby tried to force it with everybody and tried to like find that next level. And the guys who didn't have the same organic or like genuine interest in collectability came way back down because it was way too forced. Whereas like LeBron and Jordan and Kobe, it was less forced because it's more organic, and they came down just like a little bit more. I thought that was interesting.
It's a good answer to that question indirectly also. It's like, yeah, there is a price gap, but if the expectation is like maybe these markets are going to explode next, why would they? Would it be because a bunch of speculators would move into them hoping to make quick flips, or would it be because their collector bases grow and there's people who want to own those cards for the long term? I think that's an important question to ask yourself when you're thinking about markets.
That's what's always annoyed you and me the most about certain content creators is they try to push, the top 5 of like super undervalued guys, or like, and then my response is like, well, there's a reason they're super undervalued because, your money is much better spent. If that's your goal, you might as well just buy Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and just like ride that wave instead. Like ride the collectible wave. If you're gonna sit here and tell me Miles Turner is a better investment than LeBron. Like, I mean, Miles Turner's gonna have to become an MVP multiple times to outperform LeBron's card prices over the next year. Like, it doesn't make any sense if you're gonna suggest to somebody to try to like hit the lottery on somebody versus like playing the course of the collectability market overall.
Great points. Good point to end on. An interesting side note. I was talking to Garrett Bauer, and he and I were looking at some of the player indexes, and he
I
observed.
bet you were.
What's that?
I bet you were.
Yeah, we were. And I mentioned to him that the Luka market, total market index all time is 12x from when his card first sold in 2018 until now.
Yep.
And LeBron's is the same over 2018 to present. Over the same span, they're both 12x. Yep. And so what Garrett said was, so what you're telling me is I've been collecting LeBron all of these years, and without even knowing it, I had exposure to the upside of Luka without having exposure to the downside, just by virtue of collecting LeBron.
That's exactly my point. I mean, Luka is the absolute fucking, you win the lottery. You hit the gold mine, you hit the perfect prospect, you nailed it, and you matched the guy who you knew was going to do it anyways. That's fucking incredible. That's incredible.
I know. That's why these total market player indexes are sobering, and they're, there's really good data here, and data that can really shape the way, especially for people who like to invest. This data can really shape the way you invest if you know what you're looking at and you know how to read it.
And do I have to be the asshole to say you pointed out that Jordan was 24x?
21x, I think, or 22, something like that.
That's like one of the lowest of the X's that you've said tonight. So, like, I don't want to sit here and say Michael Jordan's undervalued, but, like, guys, if your only goal is to invest and make money, just invest in Michael Jordan and stop thinking about it.
Yeah, it's very similar to people who get involved in other financial markets, and there's like the old reliable that's just right there in front of you. And people can make these, like, try and constantly play the market every month, and then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years roll by, and you just look back and you said, if I had just invested in old reliable on day one, here I am 5 years later, I'd be doing amazing. I'd be so happy with the outcome, but instead I keep moving from trend to trend, fad to fad, trying to outsmart the market. And it never needed to be that difficult or that complicated. But especially not in sports cards, when we have data showing that like a Jordan from 2018 to 2021 is like an 8x. So like a player hasn't played a game in 15 years, and who has very collectible cards, 8x. He didn't match the best prospects, but he came close. Came pretty close. And a retired player, coming from one of the great eras.
We've also pointed out that, like, there's something to be said for the more steady growth versus the guy who has the crazy volatility. And MJ has always had the really steady growth, especially on the index side of things. For like the player index, it's just a little bit more steady, and a lot of the cards we look at are like, if I'm an investor, I would rather have the 7% compound interest on the S&P 500 than I would the plus 15, minus 5 stuff. It's just better for your overall health and, like, long-term survival.
It's very true. The one exception, though, is that, like, there are certain Jordan cards that have extremely high populations that are not subject to the normal trends. And I'm thinking particularly the 86 Flair. That card that card has gone, and same with some of his earlier Fleer stuff, his second year, third year Fleer stuff. That card is not slow and steady. That card goes on a roller coaster ride every few years, or probably at this point in time every few quarters these days.
Like the linchpins, Jordan, you said there's like 30 BGS 9, 20 BGS 9.5, 6. There's less than 100 mint copies of the linchpins across all the grading companies. So, like, dude, 100 mint copies of linchpins. That's fucking incredibly rare.
Here's what this is what the linchpins all-time graph looks like. All right, started at $71 in 2005, and now it's $13,000 in 2020. It's just a clean line there.
The Microsoft of the stock market, you know.
Right. But you got to be really patient to get cards like that because they don't come up often. And that's why every time they do, they tend to tick up. So, all right. We're running over here. So let's put a bow on this episode. It's been a great crossover.
Put a bow in your face.
Put a bow. Throw some bows. Not at National, though. There we go. Gosh, I thought your hat was going to turn around backwards for a second there earlier, but there we go. So good luck to the Suns tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
I hope your day is not too anxiety-ridden.
That's, it will be, so too bad.
Well, then I hope you find a way to enjoy and savor the anxiety, because if one way or the other you will be, like me, totally missing out on the rush of watching basketball that you have a vested interest in. So enjoy while it lasts.
PWCC auction tomorrow as well.
Yes, it is. It'll be fun. Okay. See you guys next week.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.